Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to be making something that I've been wanting to make for quite a while now because I do watch anime and I see it in there all the time. So we are going to be making mitarashi dango today. So today we are going to be making mitarashi dango, and I specifically got this idea from Naruto, where you can always see Anko eating these dumplings. It is found in other animes, but I most frequently see it in this show, and it looks really good, so I'm excited to try these out. So without further ado, let's make these. Alright, so to begin this recipe we need 1 piece or 300 grams of silken tofu. Here I use soft, but you can also use firm. Now we're going to take our fork and just mush this up until it is nice and crumbly. If I were to make this recipe again, I would probably go with firm tofu over soft. The only reason I say that is because I think that as you handle your dumplings, they will hold up a little bit better, but if soft is all that you can find, it will work perfectly fine. Once your tofu is nice and evenly crushed up, we're going to be adding in 200 grams of Mochiko rice flour. This is a glutinous rice flour and it is going to give this dough a nice chewy texture. I will say that I went in and added in this rice flour a little bit at a time, stirring it and incorporating it with the tofu as I went along. And out of all the things that I've made on this channel, I would say that this dough has the most satisfying texture out of anything that I've created thus far. It is almost like a squishy sand in a way. It is very interesting. So just keep slowly incorporating that rice flour until you get this consistency that you see here, and up close you can tell it just looks like a nice squishy sand. So once your dough is ready, you can scoop this out with a teaspoon, kind of knock it off the sides a little bit to get roughly an even shape here, and then you're going to roll your dough balls out and set them on the plate, where they can chill before they go into a hot bath of boiling water. So you're just going to rinse and repeat this process until you run out of all your dough balls. I will say that with the soft tofu, I did have a little bit of an issue of these sticking to my hands, which in that case you can go back and add more flour in if you feel like it, but I found that rolling the ball like this helps keep its shape and prevented it from sticking to my hand. And as you can see, these are ready to go into the pot of boiling water. So once you have all of your dough balls rolled out, fill up a large pot as much as you can with water so it gives these dumplings enough room to move around. After you dump all of these into your pot, I will say that they do tend to stick a little bit, so just nudge them around with a spoon like this and let them cook away. You can see here they're sticking a little bit, but just keep nudging them with a spoon every so often, and eventually these will float, and that is how you know they are ready to be eaten. So continue to fish all of your dumplings out. Here you are supposed to set them directly into an ice bath to prevent them from continuing to cook. I forgot to do this and just set them directly on a plate, but I did not notice any faults in the taste or the texture of these. They had a nice springy texture, so I think I was okay here, but I would still recommend putting them in an ice bath. Once our dumplings are done, we are going to make our dango sauce with 200 milliliters of water, or 7/8 of a cup. Then you're going to follow that up with 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. Next you're going to add in 6 tablespoons of white sugar. Now I will say that you can add more of this in later if you want it to be sweeter. This is supposed to be kind of a savory, sweet dessert, so feel free to add as much or as little sugar as you want, but you want to keep it pretty sweet. Once your pot is starting to get a little bit warm, you can dissolve the sugar over, I'd say, medium heat. And then we're going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of potato starch that was dissolved in our original amount of water. So I just took a little bit from the cup and then added it to my potato starch, dissolved it, and then poured it in here. Now we're going to put this over high heat and you will see this start to bubble. Potato starch and cornstarch both activate with heat, so you want this to be hot and it's going to bubble up and help this thicken as water escapes. This is not the time to step away from the stove. You want to be sure that you are constantly whisking or stirring this, ensuring that it does not burn the sauce that you are creating. And before you know it, your sauce will thicken up like this. I should have let mine go a little bit longer here, but nonetheless, it was still very good. Once you have your sauce created, we're going to skewer our dumplings and then cook them on one or both sides in a pan. You could also do this over an open flame on a grill for a more traditional method. Top these dumplings with the Dango sauce and you will have dumplings Anko would be proud of. Alright guys, the mitarashi dango is finished. As you can see, it looks nice and delicious with this sweet glaze on top. So let's go ahead and give one of these a try. It's got a nice springy texture to it. I think one reason that it has that really nice texture is because of the tofu. I don't think that the tofu is what they traditionally use to make it, but it's kind of evolved over time and they've incorporated that into the dough because it gives it that nice texture. And from what I've heard between different recipes, that is the best route to go with the tofu to give it that texture, and I really like it. The sauce on top, it's sweet, it's savory, salty. You all know what soy sauce tastes like. It's pretty much like a thinner teriyaki sauce. So you can't really beat a combination of sweet and salty. It's a very interesting dish, and I hope you guys try it out. Alright everybody, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below, comment something that you want to see me cook, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.